Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you from Yahuwah the Father and Yahusha, the Mashayah, his voice. Hear, O Yasharal, Yahuwah, our mighty one. He is one Yahuwah. This is Brother David coming to you again to bring you the Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread. The year 2021 starts February 26th in the evening until March 5th in the evening. Hello, Yahuwah. We're in the first month of the year. Brothers and sisters, when you're looking for your date, you're not to choose a date because you like the person, or even that you've been with him for many years, or because he's handsome, or maybe even that he has a nice voice. You have to choose strictly for one reason and one reason only. Does it line up with the scripture? You have to make sure you have it right, because this year may well be the last year in the lands of your captivity. And then we shall go home. The picture that you're looking at on the screen is Solomon's Temple in Tel Arad. Home. How I long with my innermost being to leave this place and go back to the land and rebuild the waste cities. And I know there's many of you who have the same sentiment. We're tired of this place. It only produces one thing: wickedness. Let's begin. Leviticus chapter 23, verses 4 to 7. I'm going to give you 3 witnesses. Verse 4. These are the feasts of Yahuwah. Yahuwah has his feast days, and men have theirs. Whose feast days do you follow? Even holy convocations. That means a gathering. You cannot gather here in the lands of your captivity. The only place that you can gather is at the temple. So what do we do in the lands of our captivity, Brother David? Just like our brothers and sisters did in Egypt. They gathered in their home, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. Abib. Verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month, at even, is Yahuwah's Passover. Did he say the second month? Did he say a 13th month? No, he said the first month. Did he say at sunrise? No, he said in the evening. When you find the first month, you start counting from the first day. What do you come to? The 14th day. What will the moon look like in the sky? Full. On this day is Yahuwah's Passover. If your Passover does not have the full moon, something's wrong. Verse 6. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto Yahuwah. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. The 15th day and the 14th day in the evening is the same day. Your days start from evening to evening. In the evening of the 14th, it's dawning towards your 15th day. Then he says, of the same month. If you start your count from the full moon, you'll wind up at the dark moon, and then you'll straddle the months. You'll have some days in the prior month and then more days in the current month. He said the same month you have to have this feast for how many days? 7 days. What are you to eat? Unleavened bread. Verse 7. In the first day, ye shall have a holy convocation, a gathering. Remember, do not go to any of these people's venues. You stay in your home. Ye shall do no servile work therein. You do not go to work on this day. Let me say it again. You do not go to work on this first day. If you did, you have violated the commandment. But at home, you can bake, you can boil, you can kindle a fire. You can do all of your work to prepare for the feast, because this is a party. Verse 8. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah for 7 days. Brother David, this is the law. How do we carry this one out? Well, you're in the lands of your captivity. The temple is desolate. We have not identified the priesthood. So what do? Absolutely nothing. There's been an amendment to the law. The priesthood has been transferred from Lauya, which is Levi, to Yahuda, which you know is Judah, to Yahusha, who is the Mashayah. He is our high priest. He is interceding on our behalf in heavenly realms. So he has all of the sacrifices handled. So as you're reading the scriptures and you see that you have to offer these things for 7 days, you don't have to worry about that. Our Father knew he was sending us into captivity, so he provided us a high priest in the heavenly realms. In the 7th day is a holy convocation. So you got 2 gatherings. The first day is a holy convocation, and the 7th day is another gathering. The only place that you can gather is in your homes. Ye shall do no servile work therein. So even on the 7th day, you have to take off. Don't play any games this year. Do whatever you have to do to observe his days. You may not have another chance in the land of your captivity. Exodus chapter 12, verse 18 to 20. Here's our second witness. Verse 18. In the first month. Did he say the second month? Did he say the 13th month? He said the first month. On the 14th day of the month. At sunrise, Brother David? No. In the evening, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month in the evening. That's 7 days. Do you understand? You cannot have anything leavened even in your house. Verse 19. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. You have to clean it out before the evening of the 14th day. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even indeed for a surety, that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Yasharah. Listen to this. Whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Now do you see how dangerous it is to have the wrong day? If you started in the second month, do you have the right day? If you start in the second month, tell me, where's the statute for you to do that? There's only one statute that I know in the Bible that you can do it in the second month. If you're unclean from a dead body, you're not to come in the congregation for 7 days. If you've been away on a journey and you could not get back, then you can go to the second month and you can carry out the Passover in the second month. But it won't be fixed. The next year, you have to go right back to the first month. Verse 20, ye shall eat nothing leavened. Make sure you clean that stuff out. In all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread. Deuteronomy chapter 16, verses 1 to 3. Here's our third witness. Verse 1, observe the month of Abib. He said observe it. Watch it. Count. Stay with it. Come down through the year. Do you know we started our count from last year, from our last Passover? After that month, we counted 11 more months, and we wound up at the date we are today. We did not know, coming into this year, that the Asian countries were celebrating the Lunar New Year in the same month that we start Abib. And keep the Passover unto Yahuwah your mighty one. For in the month of Abib, the first month, Yahuwah your mighty one brought thee, you, your ancestors, forth out of Egypt, the house of bondage, by night. Verse 2, thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto Yahuwah your mighty one. We don't have to do this. Yahusha, the Masha Yah, is handling all of this in heavenly realms. He is our high priest. Read Hebrews 7 and 8. Of the flock and the herd in the place which Yahuwah shall choose to place his name there. There's only one place where they found his name. They did not find it in Jerusalem at Herod's temple, but they found it multiple times here in Tel Aviv, at Mount Zion, in the place where it is desolate today. Verse 3, thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. So in the 14th in the evening, all the leaven should be out of your house. And when you have your celebration, you do not have anything leavened in your house, nor do you eat anything with leaven. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith. 7 days. Did he say 6? He said 7. Did he say 5? He said 7. Even the bread of affliction, for thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt, all the days of thy life. You have to remember. Verse 4, and there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy coasts for 7 days. This presents a problem for the Jews. They said their God brought them in the land. They said their God gave them the land. Are they going to tell the Christians, the Muslims, and all of the other groups, you have to clean out the leaven to get out? No, they can't do that, because they're not sovereign. Remember what it said before, whether he be a stranger or one born in the land, there can be no leaven found in your coasts for 7 days. So we can eliminate the Jews from being the people of the book. The law reveals sin. Neither shall there be anything of the flesh, which thou sacrificest the first day in the evening, remain all night until the morning. You have to burn it on the fire before the sunrise. Verse 5, thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates, which Yahuwah your mighty one giveth thee. You can't do this at home. It can only be in the place where he put his name. So if anyone comes to you and say, we're going to sacrifice the Passover lamb, run from them as fast as you can, because they're violating the law. Verse 6, but only at the place which Yahuwah, your mighty one, shall choose to place his name in. That's a Telerad, at the Temple of Solomon, Mount Zion, the place that is desolate, the place that we shall return and rebuild these waste cities. There thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at even, at the going down of the sun. He didn't say the rising of the sun, did he? At the going down of the sun, at the season, Abib, that thou camest forth out of the house of bondage. Verse 7. Pay attention, brothers and sisters. He's going to give us a clue here. And thou shalt roast and eat it in the place which Yahuwah your mighty one shall choose, only in the land, at the temple at Telerad, when we return, is when you're going to have your first feast of unleavened bread in the land. You will sacrifice that Passover at the 14th day in the evening, and thou shalt turn in the morning and go unto thy tents. What do you do before you go into your tent in the morning? Everything that is left of the lamb that you roasted that evening, you have to make sure that you burn it on the fire. But do you see what they're saying here? They started at the 14th in the evening. But then when the sun rose, that's when they went into their tents. What do you think they did? They went to sleep, didn't they? Wouldn't you be tired after being out there all night? Hey, this is another question. Did the Father give them light for this celebration? Or did he take them into darkness? You choose. Verse 8. 6 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread. Hold it 1 second. I thought he said it was 7 days. It is 7 days, Brother David. Brother David, you didn't see the first day in verse 7? Oh, yes, that's right. That's the 14th in the evening when you roast the lamb. Then you turned in on that morning. You went in your tent. You went to sleep. Let's say you woke up in the evening. When it comes to the evening, now you begin your 6 working days, because the first day is on your regular weekly Sabbath. It's a high holy day. So Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread must be on top of your regular weekly Sabbath. Then verse 8 tells you that you have your 6 days, your 6 working days, thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day. Let me say it again. And on the 7th day. Let me say it again. 6 working days, you're going to eat unleavened bread, but on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to Yahuwah, your mighty one. That tells you that's the regular weekly Sabbath. Okay, you don't believe it? Thou shalt do no work therein. Bingo. Now you're back to your regular weekly Sabbath. Now this is why I wanted you to get one of Brother Kuya's calendars. I want to show you something. An orchestra, a symphony, unification of scripture, and a lunar event in the sky. It's the only way you can find Yah's days, whether it be your Sabbaths or your feast days. And that's a fact. Identify on this calendar the 26 in yellow. The 26 in yellow is the Gregorian calendar number. Look next to it, you'll see day 14. Day 14 is Yahuwah's day in the sky. Brother Kuya has overlaid the sky calendar on top of the Gregorian calendar, so you'll know what time it is in both time zones, in the sky and on this calendar. So we're going to come off the Gregorian calendar, and we're going to go on the sky calendar. See the 14th? What does it say in the box? Passover starts in the evening. Okay. So how does the day's work in Yah's mind from evening to evening? So your first day would be on the 15th. Remember what the rule is. No servile work can be done. Your Passover and your Feast of Unleavened Bread is a high holy day. It has to start on your regular weekly Sabbath. If it does not, you got the wrong day. But on this day, he's removed the restrictions. He just told you can't go to work. But on this day, you can bake, you can boil, you can kindle a fire, you get ready for a party. Because in that evening of the 14th, you're going to sacrifice the lamb. Once we are in the land, that is. All right. So we have the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We've identified it. It is the 15th. Hey, Brother David, why is the 15th in that aquamarine color? Because it's a full moon. The Father gives you light on this day. How many days does he say for you to have the Feast of Unleavened Bread? He said 7 days. All right. So let's do our count from day 1, which is the 15th, to 7 days. 15th, 1. The 16th, 2 days. 17th, 3 days. 18th, 4 days. 19th, 5 days. The 20th, 6 days. In the evening of the 20th, no servile work can be done again. You can't go back to your work, but you can bake, you can boil, you can kindle a fire. You are to prepare a feast for this last day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. What day will it be on? The 21st. In the Gregorian calendar, it's the 5th. Am I right? Look up top. Exodus chapter 12, verse 18. Ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month in the evening. You got that? So we landed exactly on the 21st day in the sky. And in the evening of the 21st, you're going to go right back into your regular weekly Sabbath. You see it right there, the 22nd? Okay, go to the top. Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 8. 6 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread. Hey, Brother David, isn't it 7 days? Yes. But remember, in verse 7, they had already roasted the lamb. The night was done. The sun rose. They had already burnt the residue on the fire. The Father commanded them to go into their tents. They were out there for a full 12 hours. So they went into their tents and they went to sleep. Let's just say that they woke up in the evening. In the evening starts your 6 working days. Let's see if we can find them. Do you see the number that says 28? Do you see on the bottom, it has 1. All of the numbers on the bottom represents the working days. Okay, let's do a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. In the evening of the 5th working day, you go directly back into your Feast of Unleavened Bread, which would be the 7th day. No servile work can be done, but you can bake, you can boil, you can kindle a fire, and you are to prepare a feast. Now look at what it says next. And on the 7th day, let me say it again. And on the 7th day, one more time. And on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to Yahuwah your mighty one. Thou shalt do no work therein. That means you're supposed to be back on your regular weekly Sabbath. Look at the 21st. That's the 7th day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We've done it 2 separate counts. We ended up back on the 21st. In the evening goes your Sabbath day. On the seventh day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, you're supposed to store up food for your regular weekly Sabbath. Didn't I tell you this is a symphony, an orchestra? Everything lines up perfectly. Here's the next thing. After the 22nd, the Bible says, the day after the Sabbath, you're supposed to bring a sheaf to the priest. That would be on the 23rd, which would be on the Gregorian calendar, number 7. So you are not to eat anything leavened until the 23rd. Hey, I want to show you something else. How perfect the Father's ways are. If your last day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread is on the 21st, and you baked, you boiled, you kindled a fire, you made your food that you stored up for the Sabbath day. You couldn't eat anything leavened or have anything leavened in your house on that day, correct? So for your Sabbath day, you didn't have anything leavened for the Sabbath because you could not do it on the 7th day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So he told you, he says, you're not to eat anything leavened until you bring that sheaf to the priest in the morning. Wow, how beautiful his ways are. Now let me show you the brothers' ways. IUIC starts their Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread from April 10th at 7 p.m. to April 16th at 7 p.m. That is from evening to evening. Now, if you look on top, I've given you 3 witnesses: Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Exodus, 3 witnesses. You have to line up with all 3 witnesses for your dates to be established, correct? Okay. So let's go to the calendar. Look for the 10th. You see it? It's on Saturday. Oh, yes, by the way, I went to their website to download a calendar. They didn't have one, so we have to use what they use, the Gregorian calendar. Okay? So April 10th is on Saturday. They say that their Sabbaths is fixed on the Gregorian calendar from month to month, week to week, year to year, without a restart. So every month, every Sabbath is on Saturday. It's fixed there. So when would their Sabbath begin? From the evening of the 9th, which is Friday, to the evening of Saturday. You got me so far? Let me ask you a question. The 10th would represent for them the 14th day. The 14th day in the Bible is called your preparation day. If you're on your regular weekly Sabbath, how do you prepare for the feast? And we're talking about a lot of preparation. Okay, let's move off of that. That's observation number 1. Here's the next observation. So their Sabbath is over in the evening of Saturday. The evening of Saturday is considered the 14th day in the evening for them. So from evening to evening would be the first day of the feast, which would start the 15th day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. What day would that be? Tell me. If you said the 11th, you're right. Because from the 10th in the evening to the 11th in the evening is one complete day, and that would be considered your 15th day. You got me so far? Look on the top again, Leviticus 23:6. And on the 15th day of the same month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread unto Yahuwah. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. Okay? Look at the 11th. That's day 1. So you count 7 days from there, and you're going to come to your 7th day of the feast. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So on the 17th, in the evening, is the end of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. That's without a doubt. Do your own count. But there's a problem. Look at their date again. April 10th at 7 p.m. in the evening, starts in the evening, till April 16th at 7 p.m. in the evening. Okay, we're going to do our count from the 15th. And let's see if we can get 7 days to the 16th. And the 15th is considered to be day 11 on this calendar. 11-1, 12-2, 13-3, 14-4, 15 is 5 in the evening of the 15th to the evening of the 16th. How many days did you get? I got 6. Brother David, shouldn't have been on the 17th in the evening? If your feast is 7 days. Did I count wrong? So I called my wife. I said, honey, come here for a second. I want you to count. Tell me how many days you get. I had to do it about 3 times. She was so angry at me. She said, how many times do you think that I'm supposed to do it? It's 6 days no matter how you try to make it come out. I said, okay. So I said, let me get another witness. Let me call Brother Kuya. Called Brother Kuya. I said, I need your help, man. Pull up the calendar for April 2021. He pulled up the calendar on his computer. And I said, tell me, from their date, April 10th at 7 p.m. in the evening to April 16th at 7 p.m. in the evening, how many days do you get for their Feast of Unleavened Bread? He did the count. He got 6 days. Well, Brother David, maybe there's a typo or they just made a mistake. Here's another scenario that maybe you're not thinking of. They know that the feast has to fall back on a regular weekly Sabbath. How would they know that, Brother David? Go to Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 8. 6 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day, say it again, and on the 7th day should be a solemn assembly to Yahuwah, your mighty one. Thou shalt do no work therein. So it has to end on your weekly Sabbath. Okay, so since we just looked at that, let's do another count. Just like we did on our calendar. We're just going to count from the 6 working days. Why are we going to do that, Brother David? Because in verse 7 of Deuteronomy 16, it tells you that the first day of the feast, the 15th day, they had already roasted the lamb. They already had their celebration. They were out there for 12 hours. They burned the residue on the fire. When the sun rose, Yahuwah said, go into your tents. You know they were tired, so they probably went to sleep. And in the evening, when they woke up, started their 6 working days, so they had 6 more days left for the feast. So he said, 6 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread. Okay, so 11 represents the 15th day on this calendar for them. Let's say that day is finished. Now we got 6 working days. Let's see where we're going to wind up. 12 is 1, 13 is 2, 14 is 3, 15 is 4, 16 is 5, 17 is 6. In the evening of the 17th would be like the 21st day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Look on the top again, Exodus 12:18. Ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month in the evening. That's the 21st. That would be the 17th. So again, we bypass the 16th. Were they trying to get this to fall on their regular weekly Sabbath that's fixed on the Gregorian calendar? Well, they just had you to violate the law if you follow their dates. Let me tell you where it falls. If the 17th represents the 21st, which is the 7th day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, their weekly Sabbath would fall on the 18th. Deuteronomy 16:8. What a deceptive practice. Do you know that the only reason or only way that they can pull this off is because you don't have any knowledge. My people perish for lack of knowledge. And if you refuse this knowledge, the Most High is going to refuse you. What am I showing you? There's 3 witnesses here. All 3 witnesses are against them. Where's the symphony? Where's the orchestra? Where's perfection? There is none. They fixed their Sabbath on this Gregorian calendar on Saturday, but their Sabbaths start on Sunday. The first day of the feast should be on your regular weekly Sabbath. That's the 11th. They already had their Sabbath on the 10th. So in the evening of the 10th started the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which makes it the 11th. Now see, if you don't understand what I'm saying, then understand this. This is how they can fool you, because you don't know. That's why the Father sent myself and Brother Kuya this year to give you these visual aids and to explain these things to you so you can come back to Him. If you're keeping the Sabbath on the Gregorian calendar, you haven't returned yet. If you're following these brothers, you haven't returned yet. Let me give you a brief summary of who they are. 1, they added a 13th month or a second month to the calendar. How do I know this? Last year we were on the same month, the first month, Abib. We started at the crescent, they started at the full moon. After that month is over, all you have to do is count 11 more months, and we came back to February 26, which is the starting of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. But look when they're starting. In April. They added another month to the calendar. I gave you 3 witnesses that tells you the first month. They went into the second month. And if you want to call it the 13th month, you can. But if you call it the second month, you'll realize exactly what it is. They're starting their count to their feast from the full moon. They're going to lead you to the dark moon for your feast. You're going to be in darkness. They said that their Sabbaths are fixed on this Gregorian calendar, yet it doesn't fall out. So they tried to manipulate it to make it seem that way for you. Let me tell you something about this scenario. You're going to be eating bread with leaven. You will be, according to them, Let's see, they added a second month. They start from the full moon, that's 15 days, plus the real starting point is the dark moon. Listen to me, 46 days you'll be away from the feast. Because you don't understand what they're doing. This is how demons and devils work. Did they tell you that they added a second month to the calendar? Did they give you an explanation? No, they did not. And now they're telling you that you are to have 6 days for the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and the Father told you 7. I rest my case. Now look at the Jews on the 28th. See Sunday? That's the first day of their feast. Then they're going to have their 6 working days, 29 to 3. They'll wind up back on Saturday. But in the evening of Saturday ends their 7 days of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And their Sabbath, Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 8, will be on Sunday. Thou shalt do no work therein. Told you the Father's making a mockery out of every single one who put out a date this year. But we showed you ours first. An absolute symphony. Perfection in Scripture. Please, I'm pleading with you, my brothers and sisters who are with IUIC. Come to the light. You are still asleep if you're following these people. I've showed you that they're totally off. They're not even in the correct universe. They're someplace else. And they've led their people into error after error after error after error. There is no truth in them. When we come to the land, this is where our first Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread will be, at Mount Zion, at the temple of Yahuwah. See, it's on a high mount, overlooking the valley. Picture in your mind the whole area full of tents. Everyone came to celebrate the Passover, come to get their lamb slaughtered. Then they go back to their tent, roast the lamb on the fire, and they're going to eat, drink, and be merry and celebrate before Yahuwah all night long. The Bible says on top of the temple should be a cloud, and inside of the cloud should be the glory of Yahuwah. Guess what it says next? For your protection. You'll never have to worry again. Let me prove to you that this is the place where Yahuwah has put his name. In the Bible, it tells you in these last days, everything that is hidden will be revealed. He's revealed to everyone. The Jews, the Israelite brothers, the church, the Arabs, Muslims. Every last one of them are liars. Then you come here. This place is desolate. The Father says that you are not to use cut stones in his temple. See any cut stones? The way they pull them out the ground is the way that they assemble them in the walls and on the floors. See the altar of sacrifice? The priest would sacrifice the lamb there. Blood would drip down from the altar in the hole in the side, just like in the Bible. Go to the left, you see Holy of Holies. Let me tell you a story about that. The Jews came here with their archaeologists. Do you know they actually cut out the original Holy of Holies that was here and built a replica? Why would they do that? I believe they found the name of Yahuwah there in the Hebrew script. And he said, we can't let anyone see this. They would know that this is the Temple of Solomon. But let me give you the linchpin. The Judean temple at Tel Arad viewing northwest from the Hellenistic tower. Hellenistic? What is that, Brother David? You know the Greeks? They spread their Hellenism around the world. The Greeks came here. Antiochus Epiphanes, he sacrificed pigs on the altar. He forbade the priests to do any of their rituals. He stole all the gold, the silver, and all the goodly things out of the temple. And he forbade the people to call on the name of Yahuwah. Doesn't that sound familiar? Constantine the Great? Absolutely nothing Hebrew. He must have took it out of a page of Antiochus Epiphanes' book. So they created a law that if they catch anyone doing anything to Yahuwah or sacrificing lambs, the penalty was death. When you give a law, now you have to police the place, right? To make sure they're doing right. So they built a Hellenistic tower overlooking this area to make sure the priests were following their instructions. How do you know this, Brother David? Read the book of Maccabees. It tells you the story. They found ostracas, clay tablets, everywhere in this area with the name of Yahuwah and the name of his people. Their names ended in Yahu. How amazing. And this is where you will return and rebuild these waste cities, like Ezra, like Nehemiah, like Yehudah's ben Matithyahu. Now it's our turn, and it'll never be destroyed again. All right. Keep the feast, brothers and sisters. On the first day, the 14th day in the evening, no servile work can be done. But you can eat, you can drink, you can be merry. It's a high holy day. Even though it's on your regular weekly Sabbath, he removed the restrictions so you can have a party. How wonderful he is. 7 days you are to eat unleavened bread. When you get into the 7th day, it's also a holy convocation. No servile work can be done. But you can bake, you can boil, you can kindle a fire. You are to prepare a feast for 2 days. For the 7th day, and for the next day, which is your regular weekly Sabbath. Then after your regular weekly Sabbath is the day that you're supposed to bring the sheaf to the priest. So after that Sabbath is done, that's when you can eat unleavened bread. As far as you gathering, if you're alone, and you know someone that you can team up with, you guys get together so you can have a celebration together. Because this may be the year he's coming to get us. And I believe it is. I really do. With all my heart, mind, and soul. I believe it is. We're just waiting for one event, for a cloud to happen in Saudi Arabia. And it is finished. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Enjoy your feast.